me, I've got none other than Dave Hill, looking like he's just come back from the Costa del Sol. How are you, Dave? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you, James. Yeah, I don't know about the Costa del Sol.
Whatever you've been doing, mate, it's working. You're looking well, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about your company, Ringside Online. I know you work with a lot of fighters that appear on BoxNation, a lot of Frank Warren fighters. Now, firstly, talk to me a little bit about the company.
Well, the company, we started it about, must be 12 years ago, something like that. And, you know, we try to develop it as best we can, improve it all the time. The social media and, you know, the marketing of the brand, obviously the most important thing alongside the quality of the products. And I suppose, if I'm honest, a little bit by luck and I'd say a fair bit of judgment. You know, we've got this brand positioned now where it needs to be. I mean, everybody tells us, I don't like to, you know, big the brand up or be conceited about it, but, you know, people are talking good things about it all the time now, James, you know. So we must be doing something right, you know, because the product, it stands for itself. I think every time you look at a BoxNation show or you look at any boxing show, any events, any bouts, you will see somebody on any show that's either got Ringside on, or you'll be in a gym with Ringside products in it. You'll see guys sparring with Ringside. So I think it's got a good marketing spread now, and it's built a good reputation, you know. And we've got a lot of new products coming out, big clothing ranges coming up, etc., etc. So yeah, I think we're on the right track. Let's put it that way round, you know. I mean, there's always room for improvement, as you know. Yeah. So we keep trying to do that as much as we can. You know.
Now, some of the young fighters, I'm going to pick out a couple. Now, no, sorry if I don't mention your name or pick out everyone. I'm just going to pick out a couple of lads that I've seen you working with in particular. Now, Joe Pigford, rising star from the South Coast, and Ryan the Piranha Garner as well. We've seen him sporting the stuff, and the jewel in the crown, interesting enough, Daniel Dubois. We've seen him wearing the Ringside Online stuff as well, which, again, must be fantastic.
Yeah, we're very, very pleased with that. Daniel, it's a funny story with Daniel because he comes from Chelsea way, where I live over that way, and a friend of mine is good friends with his father, who just happened to mention it, and I said, okay, let's have a chat with him. And then the next thing I know, my good friend Martin at the Peacock gym is training him. So Martin said to me, yeah, he said, you know, we'll have a chat with him and see if he'll endorse your brand, which he has done. And like everybody else that we sponsor, we never make them sign a contract. We just shake hands and we say, look, you know, we'll do what we say we're going to do. You do what we ask you to do, and the rest is up to you. And you can leave if you want, or you can stay if you want.
That's old school.
Yeah, that's old school, and most of them stay. Most of them do. But you know, you have to understand, from my side of the fence, I respect the fact that they're boxers, and they're not going to be boxing when they're 65. So they have to do the best they can for themselves. You know, somebody go and offer them a big chunk of money, then you know I'll be the first one to encourage them to take the money.
Now, one thing I do like about your company, Ringside Online, is the fact I go to a lot of amateur gyms and I've seen your bags kitted out in the gym. Now, people always ask me and inquire as if where bags come from, and I ask other people in turn. And a lot of the gyms, I've got to say, it's kitted out that you've actually contributed that equipment and that stuff to the gyms. Now, and I know you don't talk about it a lot, so I hope you don't mind me mentioning that, but I think that's a fantastic thing that Ringside Online do for a lot of the amateur clubs.
Yeah, I think in life, you know, you give a little and you take a little. And a lot of these clubs, as you know, James, you know, they're not got any money. You know, they rely on personal sponsors, you know, the odd corporate sponsor, which I suppose you could call us one of. And yeah, you know, quite often we just give bags to gyms. You know, I mean, obviously Repton, I've known Dave Robinson and, you know, lots of them down there for a long, long time. We do sponsor them for their bags. We sponsor Martin and Tony here at the Peacock for their bags. You know, and I suppose it's who you know, not what you know. You know, I'm one of them people I try not to say no to many times, but you got to draw a line somewhere. Yeah. You know, I like to see these young kids that have got nothing, and I'll give them stuff. And some people say to me, oh, you're mad, what are you giving that to him for? I said, well, you never know. You know, it's what goes around comes around. You know, he might be somebody one day, but at least if we can do you a good turn when you're starting out, we will do.
It's a fantastic attitude to have, as you mentioned, and it must be good for the brand awareness, the fact that kids are sort of getting used to know the brand and getting used to the equipment at such an early age. When they sort of move on to the paid ranks, it's probably what they're used to and what they'll insist on using.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that in it, but also I believe that the product has to stand up, you know, and look, I'll be the first one to admit, from time to time we do get some product that goes a bit pear-shaped. You know, something goes wrong with a pair of gloves, we never even argue, we just send them a new pair, you know, whereas I've heard other brands, you know, want to know their life history before they'll compensate them. But, you know, I think it's a good ploy for the brand to just say, yep, okay, bam, there you go, there's another pair. You know, it stands up for the brand. As
well as the brand being sort of available to buy online and in sort of distributors, we've seen the gloves being used on TV by some of the undercard on the BoxNation shows, which again must be fantastic for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's that came very kindly from he's standing over there, young Robert Warren, who's a friend of mine.
Who hasn't been described as young since the 1950s, might I add?
No, you could say that, yeah. And he said to me, why don't you speak to my brother and talk to him about supplying gloves to Queensbury? So I said, sure. You know, I mean, I know Frank well enough anyway. And so, yeah, we've got an agreement with them. And it's an exclusive agreement, which is fair enough. You know, we supply them the gloves. Guys can wear what glove they like. If they want to wear a Grant glove, or, you know, they don't have to wear our glove. But so far, so good. I think everybody, I've never heard a bad report, let's put it this way around. Everybody that's worn them has spoke highly of them. You know, they protect their hands, you can punch hard in them, you know, and they're looking quite good. Funny enough, we've got a whole new range of that coming out. We should have it by the end of the month. So you'll see some more spectacular looking ones, let's put it that way round, on the Frank Warren shows, you know, I suppose starting in September now. So yeah, I mean, it's a good marketing tool for us. It's a good deal for Frank. So I think both parties are pleased, and, you know, you can't ask for more than that, really.
With the sheer amount of amateur clubs that watch the Cassius Handhelder show, do not be surprised if you're inundated with requests for bags. Hashtag Dave, give me a bag. Dave Hill, thank you very much for the Cassius Handhelder show.
It's a pleasure, James. Good to see you again.